we go back and try to take a look at it. We'll first look at regular speed. There's Buhl in trouble.
Broke loose in the middle of 3 and 4. Some debris on the racetrack.
Watch this, because here comes Scheckter and Franchitti.
You know, and as a driver, I can tell you, it is loud in the race car when you impact the wall. Actually, there you go.
Well, like Franchitti didn't see Scheckter slow.
Absolutely. There's already a yellow out. The drivers get to hear it by 3 different ways: by watching the lights, the flags, or their onboard lights.
Okay, Schecter's already slowed. Here comes Franchitti. Ooh!
So Franchitti was not aware that there was a yellow, was not aware there was an accident, did not hear from his spotter, or did not hear from anybody on his team, and watching the dash lights. Now, if you recall, back in Nazareth last year, it was actually Scheckter's turn to take out Kanaan in the same sort of situation.
I put the blame for that accident at the feet of the spotter for Dario Franchitti. He should have been on the radio and just hollering yellow, 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 and whoa, whoa, whoa.
Dan doesn't... Whoa! And that's Alex Barron. He was in 11th place, and that's a pretty substantial hit. Right side. Now with 14 to go, think what that's going to turn the finish into.
Absolutely.
Alex appears to be okay. Yeah, there's a signal he's okay. Takes the wheel off, sets it on top of the front column.
Just before we continue on with this, let's go back to the Weldon thing and just talk about it for a second. You know, Weldon had some traffic on the lower side of him, so it'll be very interesting to sort of see what that comes out with, because maybe he had no place to go except move up the racetrack.
So that stop and go came just before this, so if there was any good news in it for Weldon, that may be that while he was coming out, the front of the field was slow and going into 3.
And the key thing is he probably did not go down a lap, which is a very lucky thing for him in this situation, on the unlucky part from Alex Barron.
We're going to look back from Townsend Bell. There's Barron.
Bit further back.
Yeah.
Okay. You saw he was a little bit high, and he started to drop down underneath Bell, and you get that dirty air that we talk about. The back end of the car got loose. The car is starting to oversteer, swaps ends, and Jill, as you know, then you just become a passenger on your way to hitting the wall. And this is a racetrack that has that safer barrier, the steel and foam energy reduction barrier, which actually helps reduce the impact going against the wall.
It's nice to see him walking after such a big incident like that. And sometimes what can happen, for example, you bang your knees together, you can hardly walk, so much it hurts. But thankfully, Barron is okay.
Like all type of country music, some strong Canadian country performers, I might add.
And caution once again. Oh, and this involves some pretty serious contact. Scott Sharp comes sliding right up to the camera in the Delphi car. You saw him had his hands off the wheel.
Where was he, 40? He wasn't up on me, was he?
No, I knew he was going to throw it in there at the last minute, dude. No, he just ran out of patience, man.
That Sharp radio to his spotter, and he said he wasn't up beside me, was he? And he said, no, it looks like he just drove it in there hard and threw it in there.
Of course, he is Townsend Bell in the 2 car, parked against the wall just behind him. Townsend has been particularly aggressive today. So our 4th caution, as they're running down pretty close to the end of the race, and Scott Sharp props himself up in the car. They want to make sure he's okay before they tell him to get all the way out.
And we talked about that yellow light the drivers see. There it is right there, inside the cockpit, that's always flashing.
Let's go to Todd. A massive task to get from 12th up to the front, but Catherine Evans is in 5th. Here is that situation.
You can see the contact has already happened, possibly Bell trying to go underneath Sharp going into the turn, and had already had Sharp turned around sideways. Now as we watch Bell, going to peek inside, going into 3 where everybody likes to pass, just not up beside Sharp far enough. That right front ends up getting Sharp's left rear, a lot of damage there. There he goes, getting the draft up from Sharp's car, goes in front. And you can see Sharp's off the gas because he doesn't have great handling possibly. Very slippery turn down there in 3.
Yeah, Sharp is upset. Dr. Henry Bach tries to pull him back. But Sharp, I would think, has a right to be upset. I mean, the obligation's still with the guy that's doing the passing.
Well, they always say spotters can let you know where the cars are around you. Spotters do not drive the car. So these two guys will end up having some conversation about this once they both get out of the car. But you would probably want to see Townsend Bell just a little bit further along the Delphi car of Scott Sharp. And then he will be saying, boy, I sure wanted some more space from Scott Sharp. He should have given me some more room. His spotter should have let him know I was there. So that's going to be a great conversation I'd like to listen into.
That equates out to over a football field a second.
Well, and another car takes the wall. Two of them. Everybody tries to get it slowed down to make sure they don't get on that carbon fiber debris. That brings a caution out. This is the 63rd lap. Always amazes me. There's Mark Taylor sliding to a stop, and how fast the safety crews get there.
Not been Mark Taylor's day.
But he was still there, and they hit.
Ed Carpenter, the other car.
Ironic, guys, that both Mark Taylor and Ed Carpenter are side by side in the pit lane.
You think about it, you know, these two guys ran here in the Menards Infinity Pro Series against one another last year. Ed Carpenter won the race held here, Taylor the series. Carpenter's obviously okay, and that's good news. Well, Scott?
Well, guys, two guys going for the same piece of real estate, and it just doesn't work like that sometimes.
Fortunately, the cars came around, scrubbed off a lot of speed in doing so.
And they end up in the safer barrier, that steel and foam energy reduction barrier that the IRL has in place. Now, it looks like Taylor's trying to go around the outside of Carpenter. Remember, Carpenter's on the low side, but there's cars in front. Does he get a little bit of dirty air and the cars start to push up front? Here we go. We'll get a good sense of what's going on right here. Nice passes. Barron went right through him. Now, guys, that's a side-by-side, and I got to say that Ed's just maybe a hair high going through the turn. Could have made it work, but they just went for the same piece of real estate.
Scott, do you remember when we talked about the dirty air that's created when you get up behind another car? It looked to me like that is part of what happened in that accident. Cars got awfully light, kind of bounced around a little bit.
That's Foyt the fourth way down there making his turn into the pits. And the caution comes out. A car into the barrier going into the pits. And whoa, that's a big hit for a Target Chip Ganassi car.
He hit something in the acid.
But actually, it's good news, Paul. You see the driver actually remove the steering wheel himself and put it up on top. And that is the key thing.
Yeah, but no repeat win for Scott Dixon.
Right now, as a driver, you just say, you know something, the car did its job. That attenuator that they hit going into the pits is always something a driver has always had his eye on, not only here, but even Indy, Jill. You know, you come out of the turn so quickly going down there, and you just notice that attenuator there all the time, and very seldom somebody ever hits it, but when you do, you know it's a big one.
I tell you, it's a tough situation because under green, you can make so much time coming in and out of the pits that a driver, you know, even though it looks like you're going slow, you're pushing as hard as you can to that slow down lane, because any second or any fraction of a second you make will make a big difference when you come out of the pits. I know that I used to concentrate on that a lot.
All right, let's look at this. It looks like a pit entry problem. Elio had a similar problem. Boy, he caught that attenuator.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm glad I wasn't in that car.
See the speed, just carrying too much speed. The back end of the car starts to slide around. Remember, they don't drive on this track all the time on the bottom section there, so there is actually a little bit of sand and greasiness there every once in a while.
Let's go with his onboard. He's on the pit lane approach.
Hey, both Penske cars straight shot in pit ball. Pit speed.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you could see it. He was pushing the throttle really hard. When he thought he was going straight, he said, time to go. And it's a shame he lost it, but thankfully he's okay.
It's going to
Still there. Still there.
Ooh, very close there.
Look at all this crowd standing up, just loving this stuff right now. But I got to tell you, oh! Thomas Enge and Tomas Scheckter.
Big accident.
That one was coming off at turn 4.
pretty hard smack with the wall. Fernandez was shown as the leader at the line.
And this may be the end of the race.
As the yellow came out, exactly.
That is a lot of damage on that yellow Pennzoil car, guys.
194 laps complete. Fernandez had a nose ahead at the line. So as the yellow came out, it was scored as Fernandez, Canan, Hornish Jr.
Now you saw him go down on the apron. He knows there's a crash in 4 because his spotters have told him that. He's looking for a clean way through the racetrack so his tires don't run over any of the debris and maybe give him a puncture.
Well, Tomas Scheckter is okay. Tomas Enge from the Czech Republic in his first race ends it with a crash against the wall. Look on top of the Delphi safety team there, that little bump. They now have a camera system, helps the medical team keep track of what happens once they go to the rescue point. Whoa, that was just a big loss.
Tomas Scheckter in the yellow car with Tomas Eng in the front. Tomas Eng just got completely loose. The car swapped ends on him. Tomas Scheckter was just a passenger in this, guys. He had absolutely nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go, for sure.
Probably. Well, the caution just come out again, and there's the reason why. Mark Taylor's car, 13, and the 14 car of A.J. Foyt, the 4th. Tangled. You could actually see it coming for a while. The cars are on the pit road just because the track is so blocked up here. They want to try and get that cleaned as fast as they can. Here it is, Scott.
You see the green and white car right there in your screen, actually. Foyt, the 4th, coming up a little bit too aggressively coming off the turn. Now, his car almost started to go on an angle, Paul. I'm not so sure that maybe something didn't go wrong with the car because he went up there and just collected Mark Taylor.
Yeah, we've got another angle here. It was a pretty sudden move.
See, there he goes, and he maybe didn't have an indication from his spotter that Mark was up there. In any case, both coming off of turn 4, doing 215 miles an hour. That impact against the wall, and then with all those flames going right over Mark Taylor right now, that is a scary ride, let me tell you.
You can look at the safer wall there, which helps this, doesn't it?
Yeah, on your right-hand side, you can actually see the safer barrier that they use. It's a steel and foam energy reduction, and you can see it right there on the top also. It's just corrugated steel with some foam behind it, and there's a space in between. And here it is right there. There's the corrugated steel right there. These are all the pieces of foam, and this is the actual cement retaining wall that is actually used around all the race circuits. You can see where the retaining wall here meets up with the safer barrier.
25 laps to go to the finish now. They're all beginning to feel that checkered flag approaching and doing what they can to try to get in a good position for that final run to the finish. It's Buddy Rice, the Indy 500. Oh! Whoa! And that ended up against the wall. Big time. And very predictable. And very suddenly. And we've had such a clean race to this point. So now Matsura and Jeff Simmons get together.
We talked about 3 wide. You can do that, but when you get into the turns, you got to give a little space to the other guys. Relieve your foot off the throttle.
You know, Simmons had a good run at Indy, jumped in there and finished 16th. His spotter looking on, Allenser Jr. Probably thinking, well, I'm glad it isn't me this time. So our second caution of the day comes out. This one for an incident as well. The first incident was on the start of the race when Tora Takagi and Scott Sharp got together, and now you've got Kosuke Matsura and Jeff Simmons together in some very close racing. Boy, look at the damage to that thing.
Well, it looks like damage, but remember that these cars are built like a deformable structure. Everything you see there that's all collected up just absorbs all the impact. See that? 3 wide, the guy in the middle just did not have enough room.
They were very lucky. You're lucky when you touch wheels like that, you don't launch the car.
Yeah, it started with Kosuke being up top, just trying to pinch down. You've got to think of it as a highway, 3 lanes. As soon as you touch tires like that, there's nothing except you're a passenger.
And Scott, what about experience for the guy in the middle there that replaced Al Unser Jr. in that red car? He's not been put in this situation before, and maybe he wasn't able to make the proper adjustment.
Well, you know, I don't know, Jack. I mean, it's heart rate right now. His heart rate's going to be high, but when you're in the middle, you can't go high and you can't go low. Koski really just need to give a little bit more space up there on the top to allow those guys to have the room on the bottom.
Well, and you also can't get on the brake either, because if you do, you're inviting that situation.
Well, he probably eased off the throttle just a little bit. You saw the 2 cars fall back, but certainly a situation you don't want to be with your first time in the car. And I spoke to those guys before the race. They said, we just need to finish. We just need to get a finish underneath us here.
There's Koski Mature out of the car, obviously okay. A moment ago, you saw Clive Hall and Al Unser Jr. talking. Clive spots for the Penske team along with Tom Wirtz, and has spotted Al Unser Jr. quite a bit in his career at Penske. So Buddy Rice leads under the caution, but they're going to group up now. Will he be able to stay there?
Buddy Rice on the move as well. That blue-red car with the silver.
And the yellow comes out again. Whoa! 2 cars right at the pit entrance. Greg Ray is one of them. There are 3 cars. One of them is a Target Chip Ganassi car. It looks like Hornish and Manning. Well, he was hustling the car. Look at the damage to that thing.
You can see the disgust with Hornish. He threw his steering wheel out. He wants out of the car. Both the left and the right side of it, he's probably obviously just ended up clipping the guys in front of him.
So Hornish climbs out, no problem. Greg Ray is the blue number 13. Ray is out of the car.
Guys, this is real lucky because that's in pit lane right now. It came in, hit the end of the attenuator. All 3 cars came in. If there was any pit stops going on at that point in time, that would have been very difficult.
Oh, look how angry Manning is. So let's take a look and see what set this situation up. We knew that Hornish was hustling pretty hard.
You have to see the bottom of your screen. All 3 of them coming around there. And Hornish was in the backside of it by the looks of it. He ended up just getting collected with everything that was going on.
Pretty much a victim. That's an attenuated barrier, a barrier that can collapse on you at the end of the pits. It's been tested before, and it looks like it's done its work again, but it was more what Ray and Manning were doing than what Hornish was doing. Ooh.
I've hit that, Paul, and I got to tell you, that's it's not a great feeling. That thing just does not move, but it looked like Manning being on the outside possibly just swerved away from the wall, caught into Greg Ray, and then Hornish was just taken out in the accident.
There's the victim.
And the bad luck as we look at Darren Manning also waving, reminiscent of the way Eddie Sachs and even the Brit Jackie Stewart had to walk back down to pit road one time. But for Sam Hornish, the ill fate at Indy continues for this kid.
And another rookie in Darren Manning out of the race.
See that Greg Ray's just coming up. Manning's trying to stay on his line, and Greg ends up just getting a little bit high. There again, the dirty air probably from the car in front made the front slide up. Just goes and catches that left rear of Manning and sends everybody into a spin.
And remember, this is the Greg Ray, the same Greg Ray that told us he had to finish 10th or better in this race or he'd be out of business.
Circulating at over 213 miles an hour. You know, those intervals, while interesting, are fairly meaningless.
There we go, a touch between Kanaan and Rice. Kanaan started to go on the high side. He's been down on the bottom all day long. Probably wanted to see if his car would work up top. I think Rice surprised him, Paul.
Yeah, both of them, though, kept it under control. Oh, and this time, no! That's Rice upside down on the backstretch. He flipped up, got the car sideways. It got nosed higher in the air.
Hey, buddy, can you hear us there?
Car is not even stopped, Paul, and the safety crew is on the scene.
No answer, though. Manning, he's involved. You saw him reach out of the cockpit. So now we're waiting on word from Rice. The safety team is there. They're working. And down in the Ray Hall Letterman pits. Remember Rice going for it tight at Pikes Peak. That's Buddy's dad walking away there, and then Scott Remke, a team manager on the scooter.
Interesting to note that Bobby Rahal is not here this weekend. He is actually up in Watkins Glen, New York, running his vintage car. Probably watching this on television.
They want to get this car. That's Bud. That's his dad. Walking over back into the paddock area.
Now,
we're going to try to get it right side up.
We didn't have any communication, but Paul, you have to remember that the antenna is on the top of the car, probably has ground the antenna away, and they probably know that Buddy is okay underneath it, but he cannot make contact with the pit lane.
Chip Ganassi watches. Darren Manning out of the car. He appears to be all right. Now they're getting that car rolled right side up. The word from race control is that he's okay.
Now, as a driver, I will tell you previously, one thing that he's thinking about right now is not about injury. It's about that the championship is gone.
So they get the car down, right side up, very gently. And there's Buddy. Whoa! Buddy Rice is okay. Buddy Rice just pops up and out of the car. So Buddy Rice is all right. He climbs out of the car after they gently turn it back right side up. Here's what happened.
Just at the beginning of your screen, you can see that he got his left rear touched by the right front of Darren Manning. As soon as the two tires touch, Paul, the rubber, then it just connects quickly and sends the car into the air. See, Buddy was just starting on his way down off of the turn, probably did not know that Darren was there. Probably more so on Buddy's line fault there of coming down a little bit too quickly. As we watch from the rear section here right now, you can see that Buddy, being on the right-hand side, just started to bring the car down to protect that inside line and ended up connecting with Darren Manning.
Yeah, Sam Hornish had to go down low on the inside to get around the car. There's Buddy sliding sideways, gets kicked up in the air.
And you saw the front of Darren Manning's car almost get lifted up also.
And taking a look at it, you saw Tony Kanaan going through the middle of this. So this is onboard Kanaan, the two participants right ahead.
You know, Tony Kanaan, after watching this, will be on the radio and going, boys, you would be amazed at what I just saw.
Tribute, though, to the strength of the cars as we watch from Manning's car.
The right front there of Manning, and here you see Rice coming across, crossing him, and then he just ends up getting the air underneath the car, lifting it up. And here goes Buddy up and over. You think Darren Manning didn't go, holy moly?
Or something of that sort. Unbelievable footage as Buddy Rice, second time this year, first time he did it at Pikes Peak on the start. This is on a restart where he got caught out. This time, though, it flipped the car upside down.
On the low side, making some great ground up there. And see how quickly he was going and catching up to that group? That is an incredible shot.